Hey everybody, this is Alan Fine. I'm here with Simon Blako, the Vice President of Hotel Operations for Azamara Cruises. We're on the CEO and Loyalty Cruise from Miami to Panama City through the Panama Canal, and we're going to talk about deep immersion, which is, of course, their differentiator here on Insider Travel Report. You're the Vice President of Hotel Operations for 4 ships, not just this one.
That's right. Yeah, we have 4 ships now all around the world. We had them until recently all together in Europe, doing itineraries all across the Mediterranean and Northern Europe, and now they're going to the 4 corners, as I used to say. And
they're all immersive, and that's part of your responsibility. So my first question is, well, as I see it, you have immersion on the ship, and you have As Amazing Evenings off the ship. 2 very different animals, both immersion.
Yeah, absolutely.
But from your responsibilities, it's like, how do you do it? From the As Amazing Evening, essentially every single person on the ship can go. What percentage usually goes?
So we aim for around 600, 620. Now, out of 700, yes. Right. So a lot of people have been there before. Although the hotel team, I'd say, orchestrate the logistics, it's actually a separate team within Azamara that organize and curate. It comes under a gentleman called Paul Chappell, who is sailing with us today. Wonderful man and has a great team. And, you know, we have an As Amazing Evening every 3 days, somewhere around the world.
So on this trip, we had one amazing evening. But you're saying every 3 days something's happening somewhere.
That's right, exactly right. So we plan them, or I'd say Paul's team do a great job of planning them anywhere from 18 months to 2 years out. And obviously they do site inspections of these venues. And a lot of people, are bidding for our business. They're trying to say, no, we think this is the best. So the venue has to be culturally representative. The show as well as entertaining. It's got to be representative of the region in which we are. In which we're, having that destination immersion. So the hotel operations team orchestrate that.
But it has to have a little bit of an oh wow factor.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it has to. And I was in one in Dubrovnik recently where it was at the end of our world cruise. And I just had to reach out to Paul because he was back in Miami, and it just said, what an incredible view. It was overlooking the old town of Dubrovnik. It was this open-air theater on top of a mountain which looked down onto the stage, and behind the stage in the water was the ship. And of course, when it became evening, sunset, Dubrovnik, and the ship behind, it was just amazing.
But it's a Herculean task that every time there's one of these, and all 4 ships, you've got to move people safely. How do you manage that?
So again, that's all part of the planning and the logistics process. And we like to think we do it as seamlessly as possible, because yesterday, for example, was 15 coaches. And it has to be timed perfectly. And of course, the first people that are there should be the captain and the cruise director. So that was Captain Kresimir and Grace, because they are the face of the ship. They should be there to welcome the guests. And as soon as they are there, quick setup check. Okay, everyone's in place, and the first bus is on its way, and then the second bus, and it's very, very quick succession. And so what we'd like to think is that we get the timing right, so by the time the first bus gets there, they're not waiting long. But the thing is, we had a wonderful guitarist on stage yesterday, just setting the scene, and then when the last bus arrives, again, it's from when you step off the bus, you have a look around. We have the As Amazing Evenings, on the theater above the door, and so many of our guests just literally just stepped out and went, wow, okay, this is incredible. And then all the costumes who were actual performers, and just the variety of the music, the talent of the music, the singer. At one point we were discussing, she has to be lip syncing. But then we were staring, but she was just so good. And I was talking to Paul and some of the team last night. You could tell that these were people who do that for a living. These were professional performers, musicians. They're not just a local band who play at weekends, and which is still great and it's still entertaining. But when we go into a theater like that, of that caliber, with that history, and when our guests sit around and look around, you've got to deliver something that is absolutely top notch in terms of performance, and I think that When our guests walked out of the theatre last night, and I saw them when they came on board, the amount of people that just said, outstanding, wonderful, energy. And that's what we want. We want people to come back feeling that they've learned something, they've seen something amazing, and they will talk about it for a long time.
But now, not everything happens off the ship. And so, at least on this voyage, we had two major events that you had to plan for us, both in immersion and the White Nights. So let's talk about that, and I'm going to show them.
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you. So one of the phrases I like to use is that we don't just bring our guests to the world, we bring the world to our guests. Even though we stay longer and overnight, we know that that time ashore, guests can only do so much. So we try to go, well, let's see what more we can get them. So, and one of the best ways to do that is through food and beverage. So, because a lot of tours, they might include lunch. They might include a quick snack. So we want to offer them more and something that is truly authentic. And it's not just food and beverage, but it's also entertainment. So you mentioned the White Night. You mentioned Destination Immersion. We've been known for those for a long time.
So for the immersion, we were off of Bonaire, and you brought in talent of the caliber of the An Amazing Evening, but you brought it on deck. Let's talk about that. Let me show that, and then let's talk about White Nights.
Wonderful. Yeah, okay. So the Destination Immersion event, earlier this year, we realized that we've been talking about Destination Immersion for so long, and we do it so well by bringing our guests to the world. But when it comes to food and beverage and entertainment, we saw there was a gap. And so whether it's on the longer cruises throughout the Mediterranean or that we're on right now, we know when the As Amazing Evening is and the White Night is, and we go, right, that's a really good place to do Destination Immersion. And we call them Destination Days, Destination Evenings, and you've touched on it already, but we are in contact with local performers, and we say, this is who we are, and we'd love to showcase your culture, your local entertainment. And again, a lot of people put their hand up and they're so proud of what they do. And you can really see that, and that makes such a difference. But with that entertainment, and again, with the beautiful open space we have this al fresco dining experience. We have such amazing chefs that curate that they create that menu of local products, local dishes, and
local recipes.
Exactly right. And so we don't from the office, go, you need to do this. Why would we hire great chefs and do that? So beverages, local beers, sometimes local wines, local spirits, great food, entertainment, all whilst you're sat outside watching the sunset over a wonderful place you've just been. And it's just been such a worthwhile and such a rewarding event for our guests to take part in. We trialed a few things throughout the year, but we think we really got it locked down as a team, as a fleet, and as they spread across the world now, whether they're in Auckland, Hawaii, Sydney, South Africa, South America with the ship later this year, as the Onward does her world cruise, the Grand Voyage next year. We've got almost 39 specific events just focused on Destination Immersion. We're really proud of that, plus the As Amazing Evenings, plus the White Nights. So this is just a great addition, not an instead of. Right. And that's one thing, but again, we like to think we do Destination Immersion throughout the cruise, featuring local cuisine, authentic dishes, and just adding, step by step to that Destination Immersion.
White Nights has been a tradition for how long, and what started it?
Oh, I'm not too sure when it started. It was before my time, and there are quite a few variations across the industry, but no one does it like Azamara. And I say that not just because I'm sat here and I'm lucky enough to be working with this team, but I remember a few years ago when I saw the White Night in Santorini on this ship, the Azamara journey. And it was just phenomenal. It was just the atmosphere, the setting, the attention to detail that the team do in setting up everything on the deck. All the sun loungers come in. We set this beautiful dining area, and then a wonderful dinner. We had lobster there. We had the lobster, wonderful local dishes as well. But of course, it wouldn't be White Night without the lobster. And then we have a dinner, and then the captain comes out, does a wonderful speech with the crew. The crew do a parade around deck, representing with their flags countries that they're from. It's a wonderful way to just bring and showcase a lot of crew who are back of house. That really gets the crowd energized and going. And then the cruise director, the signature singers and dancers, and the band, the pianist, the party band, they all get together. And for the next few hours, it is this wonderful show where the dance floor is full, and it's just a great event, and people love it. We're so well known for it, and it's definitely one of our unique selling points. That yes, people may do a variation of this, but no one does it like Azamara.
We have a lot more footage to show them. I'd like to show the travel advisors what Journey looks like right now. I realize in the last 2 years there's been some upgrades and refresh. So let's talk about how many suites, how many rooms, and let's show 2 of them right now.
So we have what we call 12 top suites. We have the 2 spa suites, the owner suite, and the club world, and then we have 36 club continent suites, and the rest of the staterooms and suites are made up of our veranda staterooms. So, well, when we say refresh in the last few years, yes, we have gone in for a longer dry dock in the last few years, and yes, the club continent suites would get a refresh, and some touches. So, for example, the USB ports under all the lamp stations. That's right. But I would like to say, and this is something that I mentioned to the team the other day. You would not be able to tell that these ships are 20 to 24 years old. We don't just wait for dry dock to maintain and keep them. I've been across the industry where some of the newer ships look older than these ones we have now. The team on board are just so dedicated, so passionate about maintaining the look and feel of these beautiful ships. So we refresh them all the time, and I'm sure in the next few years we'll have another dry dock where we'll focus on taking all the feedback from our guests and crew, and we'll go, well, what's their priority? What are they speaking about most? And we'll address that.
We were talking about how this is a small enough ship to get into where other cruise lines can't get to. And yet, you have 2 restaurants. We're sitting in one right now. This is Aquilina, and you have Prime. Let's talk about those, please.
Aquilina, Mediterranean, Italian seafood. It's Mediterranean-inspired cuisine with always a daily special creatives, and then the chefs do a wonderful job of creating those. And then, of course, across the way we have Prime Sea, our steakhouse, which is if you want a Chateaubriand for 2, the filet mignon, a ribeye, and just a very well executed, what you would expect from a steakhouse menu. But again, every now and again the chefs throw in something special, and these are full constantly. They are popular. Our guests love them. But
as much as I love them, I was very happy to have a sit-down meal at Discovery.
I was just about to say, but that cannot take away the quality of food in Discoveries. The focus on world cuisine, the focus on quality, and where the correct use of the ingredients. And when we say that we're going to do a beef rendang, it will be a rendang. It'll be a proper with correct ingredients. And some of these ingredients are hard to get, but we have a really solid supply chain, and they know what we want and they know how much we need. And of course, when you create a new menu, it can have hiccups and teething problems, but once you get over those, the team are able, and the team have the tools for success. But what I like about the culinary team, and what I like about our strategy at Azamara, as I mentioned, we employ great chefs. We have a great culinary team, and you've got to foster that creativity and that passion. Because if you don't, then passion will not come across in that food, and you'll tell the difference. So that's why Chef Siju, who's here on the Azamara journey, the dishes that he's created for some of the dinners this cruise, fantastic, just phenomenal. And that's just this ship. That's across the fleet.
And if you're in a rush, and even if you're not, Windows Cafe, the quote-unquote buffet, which it isn't a buffet, but the place where you can get your food yourself and still be catered to by a great staff is Windows Cafe.
Absolutely, and that's where we have a really good range of we have a great rotation of destination dishes. Right. We have friendly crew breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the first time they serve you that breakfast on the first day at sea, they'll know exactly what you want the next day you come in. They'll know that juice you want, how you like your coffee, orange juice, apple juice, and so on and so forth. So from the get-go, we like to think that our guests feel special right from the word go. So the food is fantastic. Sunset veranda at the back of the ship, just that side to side balcony where, again, having breakfast in the open air, watching sailing whilst you're having your fresh fruit, or you can have that omelet. And
another popular cafe is the Mosaic Cafe. So I have to say the coffee here is very good, and the pastries were good. Let's talk about that cafe.
I could talk about coffee for hours. So I was lucky enough to live in Australia for 4 years. In Australia, if you start the day with a bad coffee, you will never make it up with a cocktail or glass of wine. Now, it doesn't matter if you're in Australia, where our ships are. That coffee mentality or that approach to coffee has to be maintained. We've got baristas who are so skilled and do what they do day in, day out. And again, just like they do in Windows Cafe and like they do in Discoveries, they'll see the guests approaching and go, "Oh, you'll have your soy latte again, extra shot." And the focus on coffee was here before I arrived. But I'd like to think that I've continued it, and the standard's been maintained.
But even if it's after hours, you can go up to Windows Cafe. Machines are available. You can make that same good cup of cappuccino late at night.
Absolutely, and they are calibrated to make sure that the quality is maintained, not just the consistency. So, and yes, Mosaic Cafe does have some great cookies and coffee associated products for the early morning. Later in the morning, we've got these great finger sandwiches and sweet and savory snacks. And of course, they change throughout the day. So Mosaic Cafe, people just love to read, sit with a book, connect with people, connect with each other, and it's a wonderful place to be. And even just a people watch, which we know is a great spectator sport when cruising.
But also for the snacks, the living room is very good, where we see the big shows. But when there isn't a big show in there, there's always something. Finger foods.
That's right. Yeah. So we have a tapas hour up in living room where usually pre-dinner hours we just got a nice little selection, hot and cold, that guests can nibble on while they enjoy the wonderful view out of the front of the ship while listening to a solo set by one of our singers or saxophonists, for example.
But for a small ship, big spa and big gym.
And a big heart. Yes, no, it is a it's a big spa because after take this cruise, for example, we got a couple of sea days at the end of it. We've had 3 amazing nights after some wonderful days in port, and
when you're really immersed, absolutely, you then need what we're about to say, which is
absolutely it is time to spa. I know that sounds like a tagline, but and there's probably a reason why not too many people are seen sunbathing or reading around the ship, because they are now just taking this time to relax, and many of them are in the spa making use of the thalasso pool at the front, and the wonderful services that we have within the spa, and of course the gym. Sometimes we need to work off that those pastries. That's right. We have the we have the spinning classes as well as that multifunctional space on top of the treadmills and the free weights as well. So and it's a good view as you're on the treadmill.
So we're going out to 127,000 travel advisors, and who's the guest that they should be considering for Azamara?
Well, we tend to have slightly longer cruises, so that does tend to appeal to people who have the time, really. And so we quite often have cruises anywhere from the range of 50 to 70 years old, but it's also
multi-generation.
Absolutely, multi-generation families, 2 or 3 generations. But what I've also seen this year and across the travel tourism industry is a real swing towards premium leisure. And across multiple age groups. So take this summer, for example, in the Mediterranean. We were seeing people who were as young as in their 30s and 40s, who maybe we haven't seen in the past, but they're focused on shared experiences, and that's the real word. Like that, they're not just looking to go to these south of Spain or these Ibiza-style places. They're coming to really see the world and immerse themselves in them, but it's a shared experience. And so whether it's a couple or multiple couples who decide to come together, we've seen this real swing towards shared experiences and people who just want to explore. And as Dondra says, sell cruises alphabetically.
Thank you for talking to us.
All right, no, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.